Right now we go back to football, NFL talk on Over the Top Sports Radio at 11 o'clock. We're here till noon. And right now we are joined by former Giants offensive lineman Richie Seubert. Rich, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday morning.
Hey, my pleasure, guys. It's always fun to talk football.
Yeah, and listen, first off, Rich, all three of us big Giants fans, so thank you for a great career with the Giants, helping bring that Super Bowl to New York in 2007. Just one of the best moments. We'll start there, although I want to go back and talk about a couple of things in your career that happened before that. But just that season, so magical for us fans, and I can only imagine how it was for you guys going on that awesome run, culminating in the Super Bowl 42 upset.
Yeah, it was. It seems like forever ago, but, you think back, and it was a special season. We came together as a team. We liked playing with each other. We liked playing for each other, and, the players and the coaches, we all had the same purpose. We all had the same goal, and we found a way to get it done that year.
One thing I want to bring up about that season, I think it was one of Tom Coughlin's best moves, that Week 17 game against the Patriots, where the Giants, they absolutely poured their hearts out, but they were in the playoffs already, so it was questionable of Coughlin to play their guys and, risk injury. But he went out there, he took on the Patriots, the Giants fell short. Were you surprised with that move, and do you think that really gave the team the morale on that magical run in Super Bowl 42?
No, I think every time you strap on the pads, you go on the field to win the game. And Coach Coughlin, he's not going to go over and lay down for anybody. So you put a ping pong paddle in my hand, a basketball in my hand. Anytime you step on the quarter field, you want to win. And it was a very competitive game. We played them tough. They beat us, but we knew that if we saw them again, we had a pretty good chance to find a way to win. And that's what happened.
So I've asked this question to your former teammates, Kevin Boss, Dave Tollefson, who else have I asked this to, guys? Lawrence Tynes, and even Carl Banks. So I'm going to ask you too, Rich. Do you think Eli Manning gets the credit that he deserves? Because the three of us and your former teammates also just feel like he doesn't. We also just had a Sporting News reporter on who ranked him number 30th out of the starting 32 quarterbacks heading into the season. So what's your take on Eli Manning and getting respect around the NFL?
Yeah, he doesn't get the respect he deserves. That's for dang sure. I don't know what he has to do to prove people wrong or to show that he's a little better than the 30th out of 32 quarterbacks in the NFL this year. I think that's why some people are reporters and some people are players. People don't realize what it takes to be in his position. I think playing in New York, nothing's ever good enough. So I'm pretty sure he's fine with that. He's just going to work his butt off, and he'll find a way to get that team back up on top.
One of your ex-teammates, Sean O'Hara, came out earlier, and he said the Giants wasted Eli Manning's prime. What are your thoughts on that? Do you agree with Sean, or do you think I don't know, what's your whole thoughts on what Sean O'Hara had to say about that?
I never agree with Sean. That's why we like each other so much. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if they wasted his prime. They need to address the O-line issue, and they did that this year, which is it's fun to see. If you stick any quarterback back there behind shaky up front, it's going to be tough for anybody. And, Eli's my guy. I'd fight for him. I'd still go to war for that guy. And he was one heck of a teammate. He's one heck of a friend. And, he's got a few more good years left in him. I know that. He's going to work hard, and he's going to do anything he has to do to get the Giants back up top.
One of the biggest outrages last year in that brutal 30-13 season was the benching of Eli Manning. What were your thoughts when you found out Eli Manning's consecutive start streak was going to end for Geno Smith?
I think I was pissed off like a lot of other people. I don't think they went about it the right way. It's not one guy's problem. They were 3-13, and I went to a lot of those games with my kids, and it's a team sport. I don't think one guy can be to blame for what happened last year. And the Giants made a lot of changes. It's exciting. It's exciting to see what they did in the offseason with the coaches and some of the players they brought in. And, I'm looking forward to being a fan and taking my boys to those Giants games and watching them win some football games.
And Rich, talk about your career a little bit. I mean, you came to New York, undrafted free agent. Had you ever been to New York before? And then you come here to the Big Apple in this big market. And if I remember right, I guess you came here in 2001. So was it right after 9/11 maybe? And then all of a sudden you're,
9/10 was my first football game. We played at Denver Monday night, and then 9/11 was obviously tragic. And that was my first year. I was a free agent. I think I was in New York City one time before. I was in choir in high school, so we always took a choir and band trip, and we came up to New York City, I believe, when I was a sophomore. So that's the only time I saw New York. My sister actually went to grad school at Sarah Lawrence, and she was married, and she married her husband was from New York City. So when it came down to the draft and I wasn't drafted, no big deal. Went to Western Illinois. I knew it was going to be a long shot to be picked up, but the few teams I had to choose from, New York was obviously a good choice for myself. I'm happy I did it. They were honest with me. They brought me in. I worked hard, and I found a way to stick around for 10 seasons. So through the ups and downs, hard work and determination pays off. And, I tell the kids I coach today that it doesn't matter, what people think about you. It just matters how hard you work.
And if I remember right, you guys were coming off a Super Bowl season. That was that game in Denver. You guys lost that night. You lost that game, but then you fly into New York the next day, I guess, or after the game, and the whole city changes. I know you guys were integral in some of the relief efforts and helping the city recover. I believe the first game at home was against the Saints after that. Just your role in helping a small, you're going to say it's a small role, but I'm sure to some of the families of the first responders, it was a big role. What do you remember about that time with Jim Fossil and helping out the city of New York, this brand new city to you that ended up becoming your home?
You just try to do whatever you could to help out. Being a football player, like you said, it's nothing compared to what a lot of the first responders, firefighters, and police officers went through, and the people in those buildings. It was a horrible situation. The next week the NFL canceled the game, so we had the chance to help out. We took supplies over water and whatnot across the Hudson to the first responders and the firefighters, and it felt like it was so little just to sit there and talk and to help in any way we could. But then getting back to football, it gave people the following week we played at Kansas City, and I think it gave people something to take their minds off of for a couple hours a day and something to watch. And by us playing, if that gave those people something to do, then I guess we helped out a little bit. But it's just a horrible situation. It was my rookie season, so I'll never forget those few weeks.
Rich, got to take you back. 2002, NFC playoffs, 39-38. Matt Bryant's coming out for the game-winning field goal. Trey Junkin bobbles it. Matt Allen throws out a pass to who else? Yourself. You're an eligible receiver. You get pulled down. What's going through your mind at that point? Because you get called for ineligible man downfield when it wasn't even you. It was, just by looking at it, it was Tam Hopkins. And what's going through your mind? Because really the Giants, we all know now, and the NFL said it the following day, should have got a chance to kick it again.
Yeah, you practice it every week. You practice it every training camp. It's just a typical player call where you don't want it to happen, but if you hear it, you gotta do what you gotta do. And I was playing tight end, and it's easy to put the sticks and do a little corner out, or like in that case, since it was the end of the game, I had to get to the end zone, and I was just thinking, lead me to the end zone and see what happens. But I was a tight end in college for my first couple of years, so I believe I could catch, and I think I would have caught that football. But I got pulled down. The kid had to. If he didn't tackle me before the ball got there, he was out of position. So it should never came down to that situation. We were up in that first half. We should just close them out, but it did. And one play, wins and loses games, and there it is. I could have been David Tyree before David Tyree was playing. So it is what it is. I'm glad we got back, in 2007, 2008 to erase that from my memory bank until people started asking me questions about it. But we were young that year, and we had a chance. I think, the 10 years I was with the Giants, and you look back at the years where we might have, had a chance to win it all, and that was one of those years.
So before we let you go, we've also, I asked your former teammates that joined us, if they could share a Tom Coughlin story with us, just an impact that Tom Coughlin had on your career, or if there's a story that sticks out.
Everything about him. He taught me discipline, to be on time, to work hard, to never give up. Coach Coughlin is the one that gave me a chance to come back after I broke my leg in 2003. He was hired that off season, and here's a kid that played a year and a half. Was a free agent. Every year they tried to replace me, and I was on IR that following whole next year when Coach Coughlin's first year at the Giants in 2004. He gave me a chance. I think he appreciated the hard work I put into coming back from my leg, and I love the guy. We us old guys, we get together. We try to go down to his event on the Jacksonville every year for the J Fund. Every time I see him, he give him a big hug and he give his wife a big hug and kiss. And I love Coach Coughlin. I coach high school football now, and I try to instill the values that Coach instilled in me when I was a young man into these young men. And he was an awesome man to play for.
Talking with Richie Seubert on Over the Top Sports Radio. Rich, you said you brought your kids to some Giants games last year. Obviously, you still follow the team closely, and you were an offensive lineman on very, very good offensive lines. You blocked in a couple of playoff runs. You blocked for Tiki Barber when he had his best years of his career. The offensive line has been maybe the biggest issue for this team. They made some changes, though, this offseason, and then they bring in Saquon Barkley. What are your thoughts on this line? Can this line make a turnaround this year? Because for me, that's the X factor. If they can block even average, play average football and protect Eli and open up some holes, the Giants could go from 3 wins to maybe 9 or 10 wins.
I like it. I like the moves they did. I wish some of those guys would have came up to the Landon Collins softball game, so I would have got to know some of the new faces. But I'm excited like everybody else. I think with the second round pick and with Nate coming in, and they brought in some good character guys, and some guys are going to bust their butts and not make excuses and play football. I think in today's age, when people start making excuses for themselves or for their teammates, you're not going to win. I think they brought some tough guys in. I read the article about the fight in practice, and my only advice, young man, is keep your helmet on. You never want to lose your helmet in a fight. So they're scrappy. I like it. You have to get in a little skirmishes once in a while in practice. We did them when we were playing, and it just made you practice better, practice harder, made you hungry. And with Barkley, I got a chance to meet him a little bit at that softball game as well, and he seems like a really good kid, and I'm excited for him. He's pretty fast. I saw him run down the first base line pretty quick. I was pitching, and I think he beat out a single in the infield. So run the football, protect Eli, play good defense, get back to the New York Giants way, and things should be a lot better this year.
So Eric Flowers, who's a 9th overall draft pick, safe to say he's been a bust so far. You've changed positions on the line a couple times in your career. He's going to move over to right tackle. This is probably his last chance to prove that he's an NFL player. What are your thoughts of him? Do you think he's going to rebound? Do you think the move to right tackle is the right move for him?
I don't know. He just needs to go out there and work hard. He's just like everybody else. Stop making excuses. We all go through injuries. We all change positions. I think when I was playing shoot, I think every one of us played multiple positions on the offensive line. Playing multiple positions is a benefit to you, and if you can't do it, you're not going to play in the NFL. Plain and simple. So I saw some of the things some guys put out about, they got hurt because they're playing out of position and stuff like that. And it's football. Football's football is football. Go hard. I got stepped on and I broke my leg. And the last game I played in, I was playing center, which when I only played 14 games at center, and I'm not going to sit there and say I got hurt because I was playing out of position. So go play football. If you want to play bad enough, you're going to play anywhere they ask you to play. And, be the best you can at that position. That's all I can say to him is play hard.
All right, well, Rich, thank you so much for a couple of minutes. Also, thank you for the Super Bowl and all the memories and the great years as a New York football Giant that you gave the three of us fans. So thank you so much for joining us, and we hope to catch up with you down the road.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks so much. That's Rich Seubert, former New York Giant. Offensive lineman with a couple of words about his former team, strolling down memory lane a little bit, some good ones and some not so great ones when you talk about that San Francisco 49er game. But you knew that he was going to back up Eli Manning, and you're going to have the guys that played with Eli are going to have him up here, and then you got the haters down here. We had both spectrums on the show today.